Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're diving into the technical analysis for SYLO, and some interesting things have been occurring here, and we're going to dive into what has been going on most recently with this particular project. As we get into this, if you do find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new, why not subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here. Right, with that said, done out of the way, let's get into what is going on with SYLO. So we're not going to really pay too much attention to the weekly. It is obviously performing as expected. It is obviously more volatile, being a micro cap coin, and it still hasn't really achieved the kind of performance that we were expecting. But nonetheless, we have got some interesting targets: 5 cent and of course 7.4 cent. I do feel that this project is something that is very much needed in the space. I just wish it had a little bit more marketing behind it. But with that being said, I am still buying it up, as I do see some interesting positions to continue to build up a pretty good position. So what we can do is we take a look at this daily chart to start with. This will be a brief one, guys, so bear with me. I'm just going to grab a price range here, and we can actually take a look. So basically from the highs of the 6th of September, we have actually pulled back to as low as 57% of a drop. Okay, that's quite a large drop on a cryptocurrency, and micro cap coins are obviously more volatile than those main projects or those macro cap coins, the larger market cap ones such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, for example, right? But what you have here is not a lot of money to come out of the project to move the needle rapidly to the downside, and obviously not a lot of money to put into a project moves it rapidly to the upside. Now, we did a member video not too long ago talking about my buy zones for SYLO and what my my expectations were. Now, this was to basically come down into this yellow box area here, as we had done previously. There were some opportunities to be had just down in these lower areas where I would be accumulating a very, very healthy position on SYLO. As you can see, we haven't actually gotten there yet, right? There was an interesting day yesterday where the needle moved rapidly to the upside, and to squash all those rumors, no, it wasn't me buying early. It hadn't reached my zones. I'm a black and white kind of guy, guys. If I have a strategy, I'm going to stick to it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not going to act emotionally about it. I'm not going to pull the trigger early. I am going to wait for my targets to come in, and I'm going to execute accordingly. So right now, obviously, we haven't quite gotten to my buy zones, but obviously people have been buying up nonetheless. We can, of course, see that we are heavily oversold here with a RSI, a stochastic RSI at 4.6. So we've got loads of room to grow on the daily, but we do need to see the volatility on the smaller timeframes disappear first. My expectations for this project is still to rise up nice and healthily towards at least 5 cent in this bull run, with a potential of pushing up to 7.4. Of course, being a micro cap coin, it doesn't take a lot to actually move that needle significantly outside of the radar. And if there was some decent news, marketing, and maybe some interesting exchange listings, we could actually see this thing absolutely fly from these lower levels. It's these sub 1 cent projects that start to see thousands upon thousands of percent in gains over a very short period of time. We can see this with things like VeChain, Harmony One, Anchor, Matic, MTV, for example. And we compare those to things like Bitcoin with winning 1,600% in 1 year, or Ethereum with only 5,000% in 1 year. To compare that to some of these micro cap coins, you can see 20, 30, 40, even 50,000% in gains in the same time period. Your money would have been better utilized with a micro cap coin than, of course, the macro cap coin. With that being said, they are more volatile and are considered higher risk than the macro cap coins such as Bitcoin and Ethereum. With that being said, though, this is where you see the explosive gains within your portfolio, and where myself and Chris have performed incredibly well. It's obviously important that you do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor, nor is Chris. We do research and talk about projects that we are invested in and the projects that we have researched. That being said, it's important that you do your own research too, and do not just take what we say or any other influencer in the space at their word. Sometimes they are paid to talk about a specific project, and sometimes they do not disclose that they have been paid to do so. We'll always promise on this channel to tell you if we have been paid to talk about a specific project, and if we do not tell you, then you can rest assured we have not been paid. With that being said, the performance on SYLO is performing as expected. We have had the pullback in line with everything else in the space, and it is deeper considering it is a micro cap coin. This is where you see the volatility, but also where you see the opportunity, and we haven't reached my buy zones just yet. So let's take a look at what's going on with the hourly, and are we expecting it to go back down, and are we going to hit my buy zone? Okay, and if that is the case, then this is the area that I would be buying, okay? So as we can see, yesterday there was this huge green candle here that I think a lot of people in our community thought was me buying up early. That wasn't me. So someone pulled the trigger and they got themselves a bit of a good deal, in my opinion, because this is still incredibly good to see a bottom of a dip like this and then buy that up, pushing the needle to the upside. And if they wanted to, they could have liquidated, but it doesn't look like they have, and hold it for the longer term. Now here we can obviously see that we are still tracking on a downward trend. If we just take out of the equation here, these spikes. And ultimately, we are looking to come down into this yellow box. This is my buy zone, okay? So this is an area that we don't spend too much time in. You can take a look. There's a couple of hours here, a couple of hours here, a couple of hours here, right? You're not going to spend a huge amount of time in this area. So when we are tracking to the upside at the moment, looking to go into the overbought area, we are stabilizing around our 0.0046 area of the charts. So from here, we will look to probably have a pullback. Okay, and if that sentiment in the market is not in our favor, so if we just bring the volumes back in here, and we actually see a selling pressure build up, then the price will drop down into the buy zone, where then I think we're going to move like a rocket to the upside, because this is the buy zone for me personally. And this is obviously the buy zone where you buy a significant portion, right? You can buy the dip like here. This is a good buy the dip scenario. Down here, this is a good buy the dip, and this is a good buy the dip. But this area, this yellow box area, this is where you buy millions of a coin, in my opinion. Okay, these are the really, really discounted rates. Okay, so for SYLO, this is my buy zone, and this comes in at 0.0039. Okay, so if we drop down lower than that, that's where I'm going to be putting my orders and buying in. But of course, we can of course go down a little bit lower. I think the lower bound on this is going to be 0.00332. Now, ultimately, we're splitting hairs, right? By the time we're talking about, the difference of a fraction of a penny. But if you're buying millions of coins, this really does make a difference to your portfolio. Okay, so those fractions of a penny do make a difference. So obviously, if you're just buying the dip, then these scenarios here are perfectly fine. There's no guarantee of actually coming into this area, but we are looking to track to the downside. We are looking for a pullback, and I'm not confident that we'll come down here, but if we do, then I will be buying. With that being said, we can obviously take a look at where we might actually find some stability. And I'm going to quickly mark this up because we can see there's an interesting area of support forming here at 0.00430. Okay, so if we are looking for a pullback, which I do anticipate happening here in the next few hours, then we should look to find support here. If we, however, the sentiment in the market is very fearful, then actually we could potentially break that support, and in which case we'll be heading to my buy zone. Okay, so overall, I do think there's going to be volatility on SYLO for the next probably the next few days to a week. And once we get past September and we go into October, I think we'll be on the road to recovery overall. So we'll just jump back up into our daily view. Overall, I do think that this is a nice opportunity to continue building a really good, strong position ahead of moving the needle to the upside. I do anticipate us moving up to at least 5 cents, and this seems pretty much in line with the rest of the market. Ultimately, all boats will rise with a rising tide, and I do expect that SYLO will perform incredibly well, considering the position that it's in right now and where my expectations are for this bull run. I'm still absolutely bullish long term though. This project is something that I do think the crypto space needs. This is a project all about communication, but beyond that, it makes it really easy to transfer cryptocurrencies to your friends and families via their communication app. You can obviously have a chat messenger, very much like WhatsApp, except it's 100% encrypted, and obviously you're in control of that data. You're not relying on something like WhatsApp, which is owned by Facebook, or any of those other private messaging services that do not actually encrypt that data. So overall, I think this is something that's really critical for the space, something that I do think is very much needed, specifically for mass adoption, making it really easy to hold cryptocurrency, but also to be able to send it to friends and family without having to worry about wallet addresses, etc. So something I do think is really cool, really useful, and definitely something that we need to see for mass adoption. Guys, I'm going to leave this video there. If you have found this video useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new, why not subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.